Imagine a scene that feels like a fever dream. A trembling 13-year-old girl stands before the most powerful judges in the entertainment world, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. But then, something impossible happens. The moment the music drops, the shy exterior shatters, replaced by a raw, guttural energy that hasn't been heard since the 1960s. This was the moment Courtney Hadwin broke the internet in 2018. It was a gold-plated introduction that should have led to an immediate takeover of the global charts. Instead, what followed was one of the most baffling disappearances in modern music history. For years, the trail went cold, leaving millions of fans to wonder if the girl with the lightning bolt voice was just another casualty of the Hollywood machine. The sheer scale of her initial impact cannot be overstated. Her audition wasn't just a television segment. It was a viral phenomenon that racked up hundreds of millions of views across every social platform imaginable. Industry insiders were calling her the savior of rock and roll, and the hype train was moving at a speed that few teenagers could ever hope to navigate. However, as the spotlight intensified, so did the scrutiny. The transition from a quiet schoolgirl to a global superstar happened in the span of a 3-minute song, and the world wasn't prepared for the storm that was brewing just beneath the surface of that golden buzzer moment. The sound that broke the silence was just the beginning of a much darker story. The media honeymoon didn't last long, as investigative fans and critics began peeling back the layers of Courtney's overnight success. In a world that demands total authenticity, the discovery that Courtney had previously been a finalist on The Voice Kids UK felt like a betrayal to the American audience. Headlines screamed of deception and manufactured modesty. As a reporter looking at the data, the backlash was a calculated storm. Was she a victim of a narrative pushed by producers, or was the shy girl routine a carefully crafted mask? While the internet argued over her sincerity, the pressure began to mount behind the scenes. This wasn't just about a teen girl singing. It was about the integrity of the world's biggest stage. The controversy created a fracture in her brand before she even had a chance to release a single, forcing her into a defensive crouch that would eventually see her retreat from the public eye entirely. Many felt that the narrative of the underdog had been exploited, leading to a massive wave of cancel culture, behavior before the term was even mainstream. This skepticism haunted her every move, making it difficult for her to transition into a recording artist without the baggage of being that girl from the TV show. The weight of these accusations created a psychological barrier that most young artists would never recover from. A paper-thin disguise or a genuine mystery, the weight of the fake labels began to crush the momentum she had fought so hard to build. Following the AGT finale, Courtney was ushered into the inner sanctum of the music industry, signing a high-stakes deal with Simon Cowell's Syco Music. On paper, it was the ultimate win, but the reality was a bureaucratic nightmare. Syco, once the undisputed king of the charts, began to crumble from the inside out, eventually ceasing its music operations and leaving its roster in a state of professional paralysis. Our investigation into the timeline shows a girl caught in the crossfire of corporate restructuring. While other artists were dropping albums, Courtney was essentially shelved. She was trapped in a legal limbo, where she couldn't release the rock-heavy tracks she wanted because they didn't fit the radio-friendly pop mold the suits were looking for. The silence wasn't her choice. It was a contractual obligation. This is a common story in the industry. An artist is signed to keep them off the market, only to be left to gather dust while the label focuses on safer, more predictable assets. For Courtney, this meant years of being unable to share her growth with her fans. The legal entanglements of major label contracts are often designed to protect the corporation, not the creator. And as the years ticked by, the once deafening roar of her audition began to fade into a whisper. Where the money trail went cold, we find a young artist locked in a boardroom battle for her own identity, unable to speak, sing, or move forward. As if the label drama wasn't enough, a series of unfortunate events seemed to follow her like a shadow, leading many to believe she had been blacklisted or worse. She was the breakout star booked for the Woodstock 50th anniversary, a gig that would have validated her as a true rock legend. But as we know, that festival turned into a logistical disaster and was ultimately scrapped. Then, the global events of 2020 shut down every stage she had left. By 2022, Courtney Hadwin was a ghost. Her social media was a graveyard of coming soon posts that never materialized. In the fast-paced world of digital content, if you aren't seen, you don't exist. This period of ghosting, the spotlight wasn't just a break. It was a total blackout that led to rumors of health issues and career-ending conflicts. Reports began to surface of internal struggles between her management and her family, with conflicting ideas on which direction her career should take. The industry essentially moved on to the next big thing, and Courtney became a trivia question for music fans. The silence was so profound that many assumed she had simply walked away from music altogether to lead a normal life. Little did anyone know, the quiet was merely the eye of the storm. The festival that never was served as the final curtain call for the first chapter of her life, leaving the world to ask if she would ever find her way back to the stage. But in a shocking turn of events for 2026, the silence has finally been broken, and the reason for her disappearance is clearer than ever. Courtney didn't just leave her label, she staged a total defection. Breaking away from the golden contract is a move that has ended many careers, but Courtney bet everything on herself. By going independent and joining Total Artist Management, she effectively killed the golden buzzer version of herself. Gone are the nervous fidgets and the pop ballad covers. In their place is a woman who has reclaimed her narrative, releasing music that is loud, unapologetic, and fiercely independent. She's no longer waiting for a judge's approval or a CEO's green light. This wasn't a comeback, it was a revolution. The transition to independence allowed her to finally explore the Janis Joplin comparisons on her own terms, without a label trying to polish the soul out of her voice. She started collaborating with gritty, underground rock producers who understood that her power wasn't in her technical perfection, but in her raw, unbridled emotion. This move toward creative autonomy was the catalyst for the version of Courtney we see today, unfiltered, unrestrained, and undeniably powerful. Betting it all on a name, she proved that the most dangerous thing in the music industry is an artist with nothing left to lose and a voice they finally own. Today, as we look at her 2026 resurgence and the success of her debut album, Miss Jagged, the verdict is in. Courtney Hadwin had to disappear to survive. Had she stayed in the system, she likely would have been polished until she lost the very roughness that made her a star. Instead, she took the long way around, enduring years of speculation and fake accusations to emerge as an authentic rock powerhouse. She's now performing at high-level galas and sold-out venues, but this time, the trembles are gone. Her story serves as a cautionary tale for the viral age. Fame is easy, but staying power requires the courage to walk away when the price is your soul. The data shows that artists who go through the reality TV machine often burn out within 18 months. Courtney survived nearly a decade of industry turmoil only to come out on top. She has effectively rewritten the playbook for viral stars, proving that a career isn't built on a single moment, but on the resilience to keep singing when the cameras are turned off. As she prepares for her global tour, the industry is watching closely, because Courtney Hadwin isn't just a singer anymore. She's a blueprint for the next generation of independent icons. The scream heard round the world in 2018 was just a rehearsal for the roar she's letting out today. And this time, nobody can turn off the microphone.